Right, here we go again. It's time to Lowestoft. Whitby to Lowestoft. This is quite a long passage, this one, about 150 nautical miles. And there's quite a few obstacles en route. We've got, after rounding Flamborough Head, there's sort of a progressive build-up of North Sea gas platforms, which I just have to obviously try and avoid, and go round the exclusion zones. And then further down we've got the wind farms, huge wind farms. This one here, quite large, and then closer to the Norfolk coast we've got a couple more. So there's one here, and then there's another one further offshore, and I anticipate quite a lot of traffic as well, shipping traffic. So my intention is to get to the North Norfolk coast on the turn of the tide. So I've got the tide with me round to Lowestoft. Failing meeting that tide, there is a stop-off point at a place called Sea Pooling on the Norfolk coast. There's some sea defences there, and you can anchor between them. It's quite an exposed place to call into, but it's not due to be stormy or windy or anything like that. So yeah, that should be an alternative to continuing round the coast to Lowestoft. Just waiting for the 8:30 bridge. And it's got a Dutch vessel waiting to go out as well. Really enjoyed the stay in Whitby. It's a decent stop off if you're coming down here, and it's quite cheap actually. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. You get 50% off your first night, and then after that it's full price, but worked out something like 51 quid for 3 nights for Katrina, and that's charged at 7.5 meters. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with that, and it's easy with the bridge. It's not a problem at all. They open like on the button either on the hour or every half hour, 2 hours either side of high water. So yeah, that's definitely I'm definitely going back there. I've already decided. Another trip. It's a bit of a funny passage, this one, because it's full of wind farms and gas platforms and shipping channels. So not big shipping channels, but there is just a lot of shipping traffic, so just have to be a little bit careful really. Motoring offshore to try and find some wind. It's going to be quite fickle and variable for the first sort of 8 to 9 hours, but then it's picking up later part of the evening, and hopefully we'll make decent progress with it. It's coming from the west, so we should have it on our sort of stern quarter. Yeah, hopefully we'll get up to at least the North Norfolk coast. Cromer sort of positioned by, I don't know, hopefully at some point tomorrow morning. We've got about 123 miles to Cromer. That's the issue with the East Coast, East Anglian coastline. It's like there's absolutely no proper port of refuge until you get to Lowestoft. So you've just got from Wells Harbour, you've got just literally nothing all the way around. And the reason I'm doing this trip is because I need to finish this loop really. It's been 4 weeks. Been 4 weeks on it since leaving Belfast. It's been absolutely fantastic, and I'd carry on if I had the time, but I don't. So here we are, doing this last trip. Yeah. I was like, part of me last night when I was doing the passage plan for this, I was thinking, with that wind direction I could just go across to Holland and sit out there for a couple of days, but follow some of this flotilla that are coming back. There's loads of seals. They're everywhere. Just chilling out. So the iron sail is doing all the work. We are almost completely windless, as expected. It's too early in the day yet for any wind. Our forecast is picking up after sort of 12 o'clock, which is about in an hour's time. So it's hand flat out here at the minute, flat calm. Still quite a bit of swell for some reason. I'm not sure whether that's tide induced or not. But yeah, just going through like fields of seals at the minute. There's just one over there. It's about 10 seals in quite a close sort of formation, kind of just bobbing around with their heads up in the air. It's quite funny to see. The mackerel is pretty good at the minute, so I'm going to deploy the paraffin and see how we get on. Got some nice shiny new lures there from Brixham. I think I picked them up. Right, got the trawler out. I'm not sure how much line I'm supposed to have. I think it's quite a lot actually. But we'll see how we go. I think when it comes to the surface, it means that they've bitten. There's 3 lures on there, so just ease the engine off a little bit. I don't know whether I've got anything yet. It sort of keeps coming up now and then. I guess I'll know because the line will start to like trail around quite a lot. Not sure. Just leave it out for a little while. Oh, there it is. It's just popped up again. I might bring it in actually and just check. Okay, nothing yet. I've just brought it in and I'm just going to adjust that fixing point. It was on the second one. I'll see if I can see if that helps. Try and keep the float below the water. I'm not sure. Maybe it needs to go back. I'll launch it again and see what happens. Waiting for mackerel. You can have a fishy on a little dishy. You can have a fishy when the boat comes in. There's a football over there. That mackerel are shoal fish, so when you go through a shoal, you kind of expect the whole line to be full. And I've got 3 on there, so that's potentially 3 fish. We'll see. Not sure I want to eat 3 fish. If they're nice, then I probably will. I'll just keep them in a bucket for laying on. Eat them later. Spent about an hour having a go. I probably need more than that, but I'm not sure what I'm doing, to be honest. I'll try maybe a bit closer to shallow ground, like North Norfolk, maybe something like that. It's like my Dutch friends from Whitby are about to turn up. Maybe they could fling me a few beers. I'll say the trip south through the North Sea has been a little bit challenging in terms of wind strength. It's been really good, like the passage from Fraserburgh to Eyemouth, Eyemouth to Lindisfarne was perfect. Fraserburgh to Eyemouth was good to begin with, and then barely anything until the end. And then this one so far has been pretty awful, to be fair. And because of how much lacking in wind there is now, I am about an hour away from calling in somewhere early, because yeah, this is not what was forecast whatsoever. There should be more wind than this. Like right now, the forecast was, I think, 10 gusting 14, and it's not even, I mean, just like the sail just flapping around and the burgie's just going around in circles. We're not pulling anything with the sails. I fell the genoa in because it was just flapping. So yeah, pretty disappointing.
But I've still got my fingers crossed, hoping for more wind. Let's see what happens. Big offshore operation going on out here. I just saw a whale just in front, it's down here. It's so elusive, I'll probably not see it again. Oh wow! That's amazing! It's surfaced 3 times now. Fantastic! So, dinner this evening. This is becoming a bit of my specialty, courtesy of Jim Roll. I've got some ideas from him. Check out his YouTube channel, it's pretty good. I always find, like, if I eat too many carbs before a night sail, I get really sleepy, so this is like just really basic garlic and chopped onions first, fry them for a bit, and then it's just a couple of sheets of bacon, or slices of bacon, and then sliced Savoy cabbage, and I'll put that in there last with some water, and it just steams it all, and you end up with a proper tasty little meal, and it's fresh as well. So yeah, the onions keep for ages, and if you pick the outside leaves only of the Savoy cabbage, don't cut it in half, it stays good for ages. So that's kind of what I've been doing, and this is like one of my favourite little on the move meals, if you like. Obviously when I'm in port I do all sorts, like Thai curries, and which is nice, but it's nice to have something fresh, and these ingredients stay pretty good for ages, apart from the bacon, just need to watch out for that. But I keep my bacon like wrapped up and in one of the lockers below the waterline, so it can stay, it stays actually quite good for like up to sort of 2 to 3 days. So yeah, as long as you keep it wrapped up and all the rest of it. So yeah, definitely starting to feel a bit more cooler in the evenings. I've just put on my big thick hoodie again because my sailing jacket wasn't nowhere near warm enough. It's just about coming up to 12 o'clock now, so yeah, it's the coldest point is usually early hours in the morning, but in fact it's cold now. It's quite weird. I had a call from, well, I didn't, but the call went out, Humberside Coast Guard, and they forecast heavy thunderstorms to the east of the Dover Strait, or thunderstorms moving through and out into the eastern part of the southern North Sea. So I did check the weather forecast earlier on, and the thunderstorms were kind of going in that direction, but yeah, it's just something to be bear in mind of. Do not want to run into. They said that those ones were heavy, so yeah, I'm not sure I want to get stuck into that lot. So we've just got the Yaka module online from the VHF. Just picking up some of this traffic that's coming down because it's quite densely sort of grouped, especially coming through here. So we've got this yacht coming through here. That's just the MMSI number. It hasn't actually got the. Sometimes you get the name of the vessel, but that's just the MMSI. But he's coming up 13.6 knots, so he's going to be a tanker. But luckily, now that the wind is picked up, it's given us another option in case we do have a sort of a collision track with another vessel, if you like. So yeah, I'm just trying to balance the sails at the minute as best to the wind. In general, I've been pretty good with thunderstorms this trip, touch wood. There's not really been any apart from the east coast of Ireland, and they were just like heavy squalls more than anything, not like full-blown thunderstorms.
So I had a few issues with my sound recording. I started recording with my Sony HD camera, but unfortunately the microphone is right on the front, so I suffer with a lot of wind noise even in light airs. So what I did, I attached my headset to, or my earphones
which I've got a microphone on. However, the microphone was tucked away inside my jacket, so when I was actually talking, you couldn't really hear much. But anyway, here's me, sort of early hours of the morning, approaching the Norfolk coast, and yeah, we had a decent wind by this stage, which was pushing us along quite nicely, and yeah, I managed to get my head down for sort of 10 to 15 minutes at the start of the morning, which really helped. But as I was sort of closing in on the sort of Norfolk coast, probably about 25 miles off, yeah, the wind picked up quite nicely. And with the shallow depth, the swell actually came up quite a lot as well. So, and it was just off a stern quarter, so it's sort of like knocking us around quite a lot. So yeah, but the shipping traffic had definitely increased a lot by at the point of approaching the wind farms. They were sort of channeling through, squished in between the available space, I suppose, between the wind farms, which were meaning that I'd have to sort of keep a really good watch out. My CPA alarm on the VHF was also going off almost every sort of half an hour to warn me of incoming traffic. So you're probably wondering what on earth is going on here. So we had a collision track with this vessel. I hailed them on the VHF to request maybe adjustment of course by 10 degrees. They were coming in quite slowly, so yeah, I did contact them, but they very kindly changed their heading, but it was still on a collision track, so I'd hove to and just let them move past. Probably questionable, seeing as it was deep water and sail gives way to power and all the rest of it. But I wasn't gonna get too close to that tanker. I just had no interest. I don't particularly like getting any closer than say half a mile from a tanker. Really, they are big, but they can turn quite quickly. If they haven't seen you, you don't have much speed to get out of the way. So, but it was just nice to talk to the officer on watch and just get verification that he knew where I was.
Okay, so got about 17 miles to Cromer. We're plugging the tide at the minute, doing about 3.5 knots. I've been messing around with the sail plan all morning, different setups, and I've tried reducing the mainsail to allow for the genoa, and then goose winging, and then this. And in the end, I've just put the pole on the genoa to stop her flogging and tighten her up a bit on the furler, and then the main is just the maximum I'm getting is about 3.7 on this tack, so I'll have to do for now.
So as we approached the Norfolk coastline, I was pretty knackered. I'd had barely any sleep at all, apart from the small nap at the beginning of the morning. Having to keep a watch for all these ships was just paramount, and I think the maximum sort of rest time was about anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes. But even then, the CPA alarm would keep going off, and I'd be rushing out on deck to see what was going on. And yeah, invariably the actual distance between tankers was always within about 1 mile. So yeah, I mean, I have to really sort of keep my wits about me. But by the time we came into the sort of Cromer coastline, we're definitely going to make the tide around to Lowestoft, and it's quite a strong tide as well. You're getting, I think we caught that around about 7 knots. All the way around to Yarmouth, where we started to lose it, but we still got around to Lowestoft well within that time frame.
Okay, so we're coming into Lowestoft Harbour. It's 6 o'clock. Done pretty well coming around the Norfolk coast. The last bit with the engine, tide's now about to change. Well, it has changed, you can feel it already. And I'm exhausted. 150 miles, fickle winds, lots of shipping. That's probably the most amount of shipping in a trip I've done, just everywhere. Wind farms kind of congesting the ships into sort of like narrow channels, and it's not very nice. A lot of them don't know that you're even there. So, but yeah, this is the last big trip of the entire Round Britain Challenge. Tomorrow or the day after, it's Lowestoft to back home, Pinmill, and that's it. That's my challenge over.
So the Lowestoft entrance is a bit notorious. The tide set across the entrance is quite fierce. So after getting permission, I came in at quite an interesting angle and made it into the Royal Norfolk and Suffolk Yacht Club. So I'm here in Lowestoft. Got in yesterday afternoon after the passage round from Whitby. It was a pretty tough push in the end because I was on the verge of losing the tide. In fact, by the time I'd entered Lowestoft Harbour, I'd lost the tide, and I was coming in at a ridiculous angle because the tide set across the harbour entrance is ridiculous. I tried to capture some of it on camera, and literally as soon as I was like taking my focus off where I was going, I nearly ended up like on the bank on the seawall, on the sort of north side of the pier. It's like pretty ridiculous. So I've been like filming coming in and just concentrated. There was like a wind farm service vessel behind me who wanted to come in, so he was like right behind. So in the end, I just binned off filming and came in. So the Royal Norfolk and Suffolk Yacht Club is approximately 164 years old, very conveniently placed for yachtsmen coming in from the sea, being only about 5 minutes from the Lowestoft Harbour entrance. Extremely nice clubhouse inside, and very close to all bars and supermarkets in the centre of town there. And a nice pavilion there, nice pier. The restaurant in the clubhouse is extremely nice. Nice food, nice service, well looked after. This is Britain's most easterly point, known as Ness Point. Lowestoft is the easternmost town in the United Kingdom. The town is divided by Lake Lothing, which forms the inner part of Lowestoft Harbour and gives access via Alton Broad and Alton Dyke to the River Waveney and the Broads. The northern half is on the island of Lothingland. In the Middle Ages, Lowestoft became an important fishing town that came to challenge its neighbour, Great Yarmouth. The trade, particularly for herring, continued as the town's main identity into the 20th century. During World War I, Lowestoft was bombarded by the German Navy on 24th of April 1916 in conjunction with the Easter Rising. The port was a major naval base during the war, including for armed fishing trawlers, which were used to combat German U-boat actions in the North Sea during 1917. In World War II, the town was heavily bombed by the Luftwaffe for its engineering industry and role as a naval base. It is sometimes placed among the UK's most heavily bombed towns per head of population. Okay, many thanks again for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. In the next video, I'm going to be on the last passage round to the River Orwell, so stay tuned for that. I've just started working on that one, so it should be out sometime next week. Many thanks to all those who have donated to my Cancer Research UK fundraiser. It's really shot up over the last sort of week or so, so anybody who's donated to that, massive thumbs up and thanks to you for doing that. And supporting the cause. I will post a link in the descriptions box below for anyone that wants to donate, and yeah, anyone who does, obviously massive thanks again. Cheers.